This is Raúl Asencio. This is Sergio Ramos. This is Asencio, and this is Ramos again. Real Madrid's injury crisis this season reached such extreme levels that Carlo Ancelotti called it a total emergency. At one point, Rudiger, Carvajal, Militao, and Alaba were all sidelined. Madrid were left without a single senior defender for a crucial run of games, including a derby against Atletico Madrid and back-to-back clashes with Manchester City in the Champions League. Yet, against all odds, they not only survived, they thrived. Madrid stayed in the La Liga title race and eliminated City from Europe's biggest stage. A key reason? The unexpected rise of a 22-year-old Spanish center-back in the form of Raúl Asencio, a name that has gone from completely unknown to indispensable in a matter of weeks. From being a nobody to being called the next Sergio Ramos, this is the story of Raúl Asencio. Born in Las Palmas in the Canary Islands, Asencio began his footballing journey with his local club before joining Las Palmas youth system. In 2017, at the age of 14, Real Madrid came calling. Over the next few years, he climbed through the ranks of Real Madrid's famous youth academy. By 2022, he was a regular in Real Madrid Castilla, even wearing the captain's armband under club legend Raúl. But despite his leadership role, Asencio was actually never seen as a future first-team player. Reports even suggested that Madrid planned to release him at the end of the season. But then came the injury crisis. Ancelotti, desperate for reinforcements, called up Asencio. Not because he was highly rated, but because he was simply available and already training at the club facilities. But once this guy got his chance, well, he refused to let it go. During a match against Osasuna, Militao suffered another ACL injury, and Asencio, well, he was thrown into the fire. He stepped onto the pitch and never looked back. In just 60 minutes of top-flight football, he delivered a composed performance. He looked like he had been playing for Real Madrid's first team for years. He helped keep a clean sheet and even assisted Jude Bellingham's goal with a beautiful long ball. It was a phenomenal performance, and it made fans question Ancelotti. Why was this guy not given an opportunity earlier in his career? But even after that strong debut, Ancelotti still dropped him. He preferred makeshift defenders like taking Tchouaméni from midfield and putting him at center back. It was only when both Rudiger and Alaba were sidelined that Asencio was given another run in the team. And again, he didn't just fill in, he excelled, which to a certain degree shouldn't come as a surprise. Youth players tend to give their all when they're given a chance with the first team. When you rise through the youth academy, there's a special feeling that you have with the club. It's why Barcelona's La Masia products often always outperform big signings. Well, heading into the Champions League knockout stage, the pressure mounted. Asencio was now a part of the squad during one of the most crucial run of games possible for Los Blancos. In only his third Champions League start, he was tasked with marking one of the greatest number 9s we've ever seen in Holland, a forward who was 6 inches taller, 16 kilos heavier, and had 47 Champions League goals to his name. On paper, it was a complete mismatch. Holland seemed faster, stronger, but Raúl Asencio was no ordinary backup. He was quick in the tackle, fearless in the spirit, and laser focused. Against Atletico Madrid just days before the clash with City, he was arguably the best player on the pitch, winning all of his duels, completing over 90% of his passes, and not being dribbled past once. Imagine, in a hostile environment like a derby, Asencio's thrown into the mix, and he looks like he's been there forever. Even the Bernabeu faithful, who are usually very skeptical of young players, chanted his name. A rare and emotional show of belief. And against Holland, he stood his ground. He did a fantastic job in keeping one of the most elite number 9s in the world quiet. After these breakout performances, many were quick to compare Asencio to Sergio Ramos, the iconic Real Madrid captain. Of course, when Asencio himself was asked about it, he responded, "For me, it's an honor to be compared to Sergio Ramos, but he's just a role model. I'm Raúl Asencio, and I'll make my career the best one." It's a great answer, especially given how massive of a task you have in order to try and match Sergio Ramos' legacy. The similarities, though, are hard to ignore. Just watch clips of Asencio shutting down Atletico's attack, and then compare it to what Ramos was doing back in 2020. The calmness, the reading of the game, the long balls pinged across the pitch. There's an undeniable resemblance. Sure, as I said, he has a long way to go to get anywhere near Ramos' legacy. A long way to go to even match his talent. But when you see the commanding presence, you see the crunching tackles, you see the fearlessness, it's hard not to see the similarities. The other thing that they have in common is their mentality. Now, for someone like Sergio Ramos, it made sense why he was so confident. He had been a promising defender for his entire career. At Sevilla, he was very highly sought after. For the Spain national team, he had helped them win trophies, and at Real Madrid he was an icon. But Asencio having this confidence is very surprising. For someone who was once deemed an afterthought, his confidence is sky high. And to be honest, rightly so. Now he started multiple matches across all competitions, helping Real Madrid keep clean sheets, helping them solidify the back line, and rediscover their defensive solidity. But the other big difference is that Asencio is a Real Madrid product through and through. While Ramos came from Sevilla, Asencio was born in Las Palmas and practically raised in Madrid's academy. He is one of their own. As I said, there's a different feeling when a player rises through the youth academy and joins the first team, as opposed to signing a young talented player when he's already developed a lot of his skills. Don't get it wrong, Ramos is Madrid through and through, but there is a difference between picking up a top talent from Sevilla and raising your own. You'll understand this when you play career mode. At 6 feet tall, Asencio isn't the most imposing center back physically. It's even more noticeable when he's playing next to Rudiger, who's an animal. But Asencio's athleticism, intelligence, and calmness on the ball makes him a nightmare for attackers. He had over 90% passing accuracy for a while in La Liga. He had almost 60% long pass completion, including a 60-yard assist to Jude Bellingham and a game-changing through ball to Mbappe against Man City. I remember watching the highlights for this game, and the TNT commentators were really trying to downplay this pass as if Asencio was just trying to clear the ball. But you can see from his body language that he intended that long pass, and it was a beauty. And of course, he's great at winning duels, both on the ground and in the air. As a result, there is a reason why Madrid fans can't help but dream of the next great Spanish defender, someone with the shades of Carlos Puyol, but with the same ball-playing capabilities as Sergio Ramos. Asencio really is the kind of center back built for the modern game. He's capable of breaking lines with his passing, can cover transitions, and exploit high lines with perfect through balls. As I said, this guy is not afraid of putting in a crunching tackle. Some say Barca's Pau Cubarsí is the best young playing defender in Spain, and they would be right. Cubarsí is generational, but Asencio, while maybe not at Cubarsí's level, is still actually surprisingly very good on the ball. Between him, Cubarsí, and Dean Howson, Spain's backline is set for the next decade. And let's not forget, last summer, Manchester City's ownership group tried to take Asencio away from Real Madrid to loan him to Girona. So while he was a nobody to the rest of the footballing world, those with inside knowledge saw glimpses of his potential. Of course, at the time, Asencio refused. He was Madrid through and through and wanted an opportunity to really establish himself in the first team. He didn't want to run away from competition. Now, just months later, he was the main man standing in Erling Haaland's way. Football truly does write the best scripts. But of course, it hasn't been a completely smooth ride. In September of 2023, Asencio was one of several players charged in a scandal involving a non-consensual explicit video. Though he wasn't the alleged filmmaker, he was accused of sharing the video and is still awaiting the court's decision. With these kind of things, I just let the court do their thing and then we can analyze when it's done. Feel like it's very unfair to jump to conclusions. We should give players the benefit of the doubt and see them as innocent until proven guilty, especially since we don't have access to all the information that the courts do. But this dark chapter really casted doubt over his future. In fact, at one point, Ancelotti wanted to stop playing Asencio because he was getting booed at every single stadium. But once he was given the chance to play, Asencio let his feet do the talking. In the aftermath of humiliating back-to-back losses to Barcelona and AC Milan, Asencio's calm presence really helped Madrid keep clean sheets, and it even reignited Jude Bellingham's goal-scoring form. Since Asencio returned to the side, Bellingham began to score goals again, with many fans half joking that it was Asencio who unlocked Jude. He had been doing so well that even Spain's manager Luis de la Fuente confirmed that he'd been keeping an eye on Asencio. And he wasn't just saying that, Asencio ended up getting a call-up. Like I said, Spain's center-back position is now stacked. At club level, Madrid are reportedly preparing a new contract with a major release clause, just months after they were rumored to be chasing defenders like Lenny Yoro and William Saliba. Suddenly, Real Madrid now have their next defensive star in-house. The last thing Perez needed was another reason not to spend money on defenders. He's just like me in Ultimate Team. He only wants to splash his cash on flashy attackers. Real Madrid's confidence in Asencio stems not only from his recent performances, but also from the understanding that the young defender is fully focused on succeeding at the club. He has demonstrated a remarkable ability to adapt to the first team setup, impressing Ancelotti with his tactical awareness and his ability to take on instruction. His importance to Real Madrid honestly goes beyond just his on-field contribution. The club has recognized that the young central defender is a rare talent who actually embodies the club's values and commitment to developing homegrown talent. His future at the club was uncertain last summer, with multiple offers coming his way, but Real Madrid ended up making it clear that they had no intention of letting him go. His persistence and loyalty, combined with the desire of Castilla coach Raúl to keep him at the B team, ensured that he would remain at the club. That decision has ended up being the right one, as now he's a very important part of the first team squad. But it won't be easy. With players coming back from injury, Asencio must prove that he wasn't just a temporary patch, but a permanent solution. That's going to be the biggest issue for Real Madrid. Sure, it's easy to turn to academy academy players when you literally don't have a choice. But when everyone is healthy, are you still willing to give the youth a chance? Now, of course, the question remains, can Asencio actually surpass Ramos? Ramos had 40 assists during his time at Real Madrid, a remarkable number for a defender. Can Asencio ever reach that? Probably not. But the fact that he's now feeding elite attackers like Vini and Mbappe means that he can add more stats to his game. We already saw what he can do in that match against Manchester City. I don't think he will ever come near Ramos in terms of goals. Not many center backs can. In fact, as I stated earlier, even in terms of talent, I don't think Asencio will reach Ramos at all. Once again, that's a tall order for any center back, not just Asencio. But what he does bring that is Ramos-esque is that hunger for wins and no-nonsense attitude. He isn't afraid of anyone, even though he doesn't have a ton of experience. He's not afraid of leaving a mark on the opposition player with a tackle or getting into a fight to back up his teammates. Unlike Ramos, who came from Sevilla, Asencio is a full-blooded Madrista, a player who grew up at the club and bleeds white. If he continues on this trajectory, don't be surprised if in 20 years we're talking about Raúl Asencio de Rosario as one of the best defenders in Real Madrid's history. But like I said, there's a long way to go to have that kind of legacy. Asencio is not only a defender for the present, but also a symbol of Real Madrid's commitment to developing talent through their youth academy. He represents the future of Real Madrid's defensive line, and the club is eager to see more players make the jump from the academy to the first team. So what do you guys think? Is Raúl Asencio the real deal, or did I just spend all of this video glazing a guy that could be mid at best? Only time will tell. But there is one player on Real Madrid who is very far away from being mid, and that's Kylian Mbappe. To see how Mbappe went from being called a flop to now the face of Real Madrid, you gotta check out this video right here.